Hi, Achim here from InnerSpace Explorers. Today I want to talk about the Scubapro Galileo HUD, the head-up display from Scubapro, and explain a little bit about my experience with it, what I like, what I don't like, why I use it. And before I get into that, if you like my content, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you get an update when I upload new content, which is normally once a week, every 2 weeks. It depends a little bit. At the moment, it's a bit of a rough time on a private basis, so I do not manage to upload every week, but at least every two I'll do. On the other hand, I upload relatively regularly on my Patreon account, so there's a lot of videos that I do not publish publicly. All right, so this Scubapro HUD, here's the mask, and here's the HUD. So generally, why do I have this unit? Why do I play around with it? All of you know the head-up displays on the rebreathers. So we've been playing around with the rebreather stuff and testing various things. And at some point I realized that there's the HUD from Scubapro. And so I started to play around with this. So this is able to be used with CCR. So it has a CCR mode because it basically is the Galileo computer. So it has a gauge mode, it has a scuba mode, it has an apnea mode, and it has a CCR mode, but it cannot read PO2. So I'll show you this nice little box where it comes in. And what you have in here, I mean, obviously there's some documentation, paperwork, and there's the charging cable, and the same cable can also be used to connect it to a computer. And then you have a spare attachment for the mask in case that breaks. Then you have the sensor in case you want to use it air integrated, so it's available with the sensor or without the sensor, which makes quite a bit of a price difference. So I don't use that, but I want to show you that it's available. And in fact, I used it on an oxygen rebreather because the oxygen rebreather had an SPG that was really hard to read when you wear it. So generally, I mean, obviously on the oxygen rebreather, I'm out of gases, nothing you really have to worry about. But that's where I tested it. So I had it on the oxygen rebreather and that worked fine. And then you have the head-up display itself, which is this one here. So this is the lens or the window, or whatever you want to call it, where you see the information. And this is basically the computer. And you need that mask from Scubapro that has this attachment point here. So you unscrew this here a bit more, and then you click it. I hope this is visible in the video. Then you click it in here, and then you attach that, and then you have, this is how it looks when you have it on. And we'll check now if this works on the video. Probably hard to see, but you see the Scubapro logo in there, and now actually you can see that there's like a warning inside that I press again, and now actually you should, it's probably really hard to see in the video. I'll put a photo in there that I made yesterday trying to capture that view with my phone. So you get a bit of a better idea of what it looks like. So it's probably really hard to show that in the video. Yeah. And then with this knob, you also, I mean, you handle basically the entire unit. So you press it to switch it on, and then once it's on, you can scroll through the menu with this knob here, and then you confirm, and if you press on it long, it goes back. So it's really simple and it's really intuitive. And it actually also has a compass mode in it. Yeah, quite nice. So do I like it? Yes, Yes, I do. It took me a bit to adjust to it. So I remember the very first dive I did, I found it super annoying because but that might be me also wearing contacts. I don't know how this is for different people, but for me, I'm focusing on something that's far away and then focusing on the numbers in the display, and this back and forth caused kind of a headache. But I realized that was only one dive, and then I got used to it, and then it actually is quite flawless. And actually, in the meantime, I really like it, and the reason I like it is because I can focus more on what I'm doing, and I have like 35-40 dives with it now, and all kind of dives, filming, photography, teaching, leisure dives, whatever. So just playing around with it and testing it in various conditions. And yesterday I've been diving with a friend of mine who hasn't been in the water for 11 years, actually for health reasons and then some family changes, and he just never got back in the water. And yesterday he asked me, hey, I would like to test this again and see if I'm comfortable. And so it was kind of you would probably call it a scuba refresher or something like that. So we went into Starnberger See, which is close to Munich. And due to the heavy rain we had in the last couple of days, the visibility was an arm's length maybe. So let's say a meter or something like that. And I realized I really like that because I sometimes like checking my depth. I had to take I couldn't look at him anymore. So see the guy is okay, and then now okay, where are we? And you go back, and if you used to dive in bad visibility, that sometimes can be enough to lose visual contact with somebody. And that was actually the moment when I really realized how much I like it, that I can still focus on the guy and have the information right there. And once you get used to it, it's really, I mean, you kind of see it while you look at something. So it's not like you have to focus on it. And so that's really handy. I also used it while I was working with a metal detector, and as I said, with a video camera, with a photo camera. With the photo camera, if you use a housing where you have to go really close to look in the viewfinder, this can be a bit of an issue. So if you have like a display like you're used to it, like you are used to it from the phone, or if I use a video camera and I have a monitor, then it's perfect. If you have to get close to the housing for the viewfinder, that's probably an issue. The other thing is, if it's disturbing for some reason and you don't want to use it, you can always put it back up and you don't see it anymore. So for example, in the photography, when you're like, okay, I'm using this now, and then you want to go back into diving mode, you just flip it back down, and you can also adjust it. You can see, so it has the right angle for you, where you can really see it perfectly. And so it's good for dive depths of 120 meters. And as I said, it has all the functionality of the Galileo computer, which I don't want to discuss in detail because, as you probably know, I don't use dive computers at all. So I actually never used it in computer mode. I only used it in the gauge mode. And another thing that I really like on it, it gives you seconds. So the clock's running. So if you are used to normal bottom time, it just shows full minutes. So this one has minutes and seconds, which if you do deco, I think is pretty beneficial. Then it shows you average depth, it shows you the maximum depth, and it shows you the actual time, which, yeah, nice as well. You can also put the compass in there. So while you see all the information, you also have the compass line on the bottom, and so that can be very handy as well. So especially if you have your hands occupied with something else, as I said, when I'm going metal detecting, for example, I mean, you have a gauge here, you have a gauge here, and then you have the metal detector. So that's awesome. And in fact, when I think about it, for the last dives I used it, where I liked it most was actually teaching. So if you're an instructor, especially technical diving, so where the focus on the student is very important, especially when you do certain exercises. When you go deeper, the person's doing a gas switch, for example. That's something I had recently. That's a moment where you want to be 110% on the students to make sure they're at the right depth, they switch to the proper gas, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things to look at. And as I said, the right depth and everything, you have your information there while you look at the student. You don't have to take your focus from the student and look at an instrument. So I know there will be hundreds of people that say, bullshit, what is he talking about? I've been doing this with my gauge all the time. Me too, for 40 years. And that's obviously not a problem, but I just figured out that this makes it a lot easier, and I personally like it. So to be crystal clear on that, I don't have anything with Scubapro going on in the meantime, in the meaning of I get money for this, or I get percentage of sold units or anything. So this is just a very personal experience, some things that I decided to test and that I wanted to share. So I'm not trying to sell you anything or something like that. So I personally don't care at all if you buy one or not, or if you like it or not. I just wanted to share my experience. So that's very important to know. So this is no advertising or anything, and I don't get anything out of that if you decide to buy one. On this dive yesterday, there were two other things. I was testing a new suit, which is the Everflex Ulex, and I realized that there was a lot of controversy about that suit, and I'll make a separate video about my experience with it. I can tell you up front, I love the material. There's a couple of things on the suit itself that I personally do not like, but that might be me because I have a very special idea about how a wetsuit should be. So actually there's a couple of videos on this channel where I explain that and why I like things the way I like them. And obviously the Ulex is a classical sport diving suit, and there's a few things that I personally would do different, but the material is awesome, and I'll make a separate video about it. And then the other thing, that's just a private one, when I went on that dive yesterday, I wanted to grab my regulator, and I realized I borrowed it to somebody else. So I strolled through my basement searching for a regulator, and I came up with this one, which I think I used last time, probably 2010 or something like that. And so I gave it a quick service and then took it out there, and it's an old Oceanic, and with these very unique second stages, and actually I love it. I just realized yesterday how much I like to dive this regulator. And so it's not a collector's piece, as you see. It's in working condition, and I used it yesterday, and I think last time I used it was on a trip to Egypt years ago. And very, very nice breathing characteristics, very small, very slim, and I just wanted to show that to you. So if you have one of these, let me know in the comment section if how much you like it, or if you do not like it, why you don't like it, and you have experience with this regulator, and also your ideas about the HUD, the head-up display. Other than that, I hope you had a great weekend and probably a great dive. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.